Thank you for attendance, and I'd like to thank all organizers who helped me to prepare for such event. We thought a lot to choose our first subject for the educational program here in Advanced Medical Group and in Balsam Clinic. So, according to my research and my statistics, I found that stress and fatigue are the most common complaints in not only my clinic, but most of family doctors have the same complaint. The most common complaint in the family doctor clinics are fatigue, stress, and pain. That's why I thought for sure there is a link between these things together. And to study this link, we have to first to understand what is the meaning of fatigue and what is the meaning of stress. So, in general, fatigue, we can put it in different meanings, mainly low energy, weakness. The person cannot achieve his goals and suffer during his day. So this fatigue also may be accompanied by other symptoms like depression, weakness, headache, migraines. And also if female, she may have menstrual disorders, dysmenorrhea, PMS, a lot of things that interfere the natural life of each person of us. To diagnose chronic fatigue, this fatigue should be continued at least for 6 months. So we have two major types of fatigue, either to be explainable, we have a reason for that, which could be detected by symptoms or even by some blood work or x-rays, or unexplainable, which is vague and we cannot diagnose it easily. To finish the explainable fatigue, which is the easiest way to diagnose, either to be due to hormonal disturbance, immune disorder, after infection, or due to nutritional imbalance or deficiencies. To make a brief in these things, hormonal usually either thyroid, you understand that a lot of people may have hypothyroid and that will make them fatigue. Adrenal problems like Cushing disease, pituitary gland disorders, sex hormone disorders that may appear like acne in the face with some dysmenorrhea and PMS. The other category is the nutritional deficiency. A lot of people, because of bad food habit and they didn't take enough amount of essential vitamins and minerals, we have vitamin B deficiency. We may have magnesium deficiency, which is subdiagnosis. Most of people have magnesium deficiency and they don't know. Vitamin D, especially here in Canada, we don't have enough ultraviolet rays, and that makes us in deficiency for vitamin D, which is very important for our immunity and healthy blood and healthy cells. And lastly, omega-3, which also sharing all enzymes and hormones working and make our life biologically normal. The third category is the immune deficiency, which is usually because of autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease like rheumatism in general, rheumatoid, some other diseases like sarcoidosis, which affect the lungs and muscles and joints. And lastly, infections. Exposure to infection will cause such kind of fatigue also. Exposure to TB, exposure to hepatitis, exposure to mononucleosis, exposure to Lyme disease, which is a disease of force here. But the difficult part of fatigue is this type of fatigue that it is unexplainable. This type of fatigue, we will do all investigations, all tests, but unfortunately we find everything is normal. So we have to ask ourselves why. We have different kinds of somatic disorders that cause fatigue, and we don't know the reason for that. Like fibromyalgia, we hear about fibromyalgia. Like chronic fatigue syndrome, like restless leg syndrome, post-traumatic stress disorder, and even the irritable bowel. IBS, one of these kind of functional somatic disorders. Fibromyalgia, for example, which is a vague syndrome that we don't know exactly the reason for that, but it continues several years with women, especially women, and she usually complains of pain everywhere in her body, different areas. Not only pain, but also brain fog, memory disorder, vision problem, muscle pain, dysmenorrhea, urinary tract infection. These kinds of symptoms collectively will form this kind of disease, which is fibromyalgia. On the other hand, there is a disease, another syndrome named chronic fatigue syndrome. In this case, there is a fatigue which is in extreme, and it continues more than 6 months. 6 months of fatigue with no explanation, with no direct reason. Not only fatigue, but it comes by migraine, severe headache, and loss of memory or sometimes brain fog. Also, usually accompanied by sleep disorder, either excessive sleep or insomnia. The very important thing in chronic fatigue is usually it develops mostly after exposure of certain kind of stress. If you take a thorough history of this patient, you will find that he will tell you like that, I'm never well since certain event. 2 years back, 3 years back, 4 years back. Since that time, I didn't feel well. Something happened to my life in this time. Mostly exposure of severe stress, either mental or physical, will cause a fatigue after. So it is a convalescence stage, or after recapturing of this stress, the body cannot go back to its normal. And that's what they call chronic fatigue syndrome. So stress and fatigue is linked here. And to solve the fatigue, we have to release this stress. If stress is something bad, if stress is not good, stress, we need stress. Everybody has experience with stress. We have beneficial stress. If we don't have stress, we cannot live our life. So stress is a common feeling resulting from a demand on the brain and body. Thoughts that direct us to achieve this goal, to get the thing. So we have demands, and release of hormones of stress will let us to achieve our goals, to make these demands. As long as it is normal, within the range, they call it eustress. It is beneficial to achieve these goals. Exams, games, competition, business, whatever. Stress, that it is beneficial. I cannot live without making stress to myself. Student cannot succeed except if he has some stress to let him to study and to answer his questions. Am I right? So this is the eustress. But whenever this stress is over, they call it distress. Distress means the stress is more than that we can tolerate. Intolerable. It is excessive. The problem here is, according to our demands, which mainly are those 5 things, either our family, or our business, or our money. I put only 2 digits because this is the maximum that I know. My emotions, my love in our life, friends, all these 5 things will make this kind of stress in the life. According to these demands, our brain will respond If it is in optimal level, well and good. If it is low, it will be a little bit calm and dull, and he will not achieve his goals. But if it is too much, the stress will be, at that time, a disease. It will hurt our body from inside, either medically, either physically or mentally. So, stress is positive if it is brief, increase of these stress hormones in our body, and let us to achieve our goals, or tolerable if it is severe in exams, in match, in games, in any kind of stress, like even body work is a stress for physical stress for us. So at that time we will release some more stress hormones to act more in such condition. And usually it is protected by supportive relationship. Usually we need relationship. Without relationship, we cannot face our stress. So as long as there is a severe stress, but there is a supportive relationship, we are fine, we can tolerate. Once we don't have this supportive relationship, and this type of stress is prolonged and extended, the condition will be toxic. It will hurt our body, it will hurt our mind. So, it hurts our minds mainly and cause some sort of anxiety. This is the pathological term of stress. Pathological means disease. So usually we have 5 types of anxiety or distress condition. Either to be panic, which is fear towards certain event, panic attack, which is not released easily and may continue for more than one month with fear sensation. Obsessive compulsive disorders, repetition of this stress and anxiety towards certain event, and compulsive thinking that I have to do it again. The third type is post-traumatic stress syndrome. Usually it is an event with accident, trauma, death, threatening by any condition, violence, like some immigrants comes from this area with civil war and come with sensation of fear and stress because of they experience a lot of time bad situation of explosions, death around, threatening. So continuous feeling of this anxiety after this trauma will make the body unhealthy. The question is, what happens when we have this stress? What will happen? What is the mechanism? How does it work in our body? We have higher center here, the brain. There is a thinking center, which releases certain orders to our place named hypothalamus, that will give order again to pituitary gland. So brain, hypothalamus, pituitary gland will order the adrenal glands over the kidney to release 2 types of hormones. The first one is cortisol and the second one is adrenaline. Those hormones, mainly cortisol hormone, will act on lungs to increase breathing, on your heart to let the heartbeat to be faster, so it can face all kinds of stress in our life. The blood pressure also will get higher. Liver will secrete more glucose to give more energy. At the same time, they will say to stomach, please stay calm. We don't need it now. Nobody in stress. During running, for example, I will not stop to eat. So I need my muscles, I don't need my stomach at that time. But we have normal rhythm, diurnal rhythm, to release cortisol. Cortisol is a hormone of stress to make us wake up. And once it will go down, we'll go to sleep. So it is a hormone of daytime. Hormone of daytime. start to release at 6 a.m. and come to the maximum at around 9 to 10 or maybe after that. And go down till from 6 to 9 p.m. it will reach to the minimum. So daytime is a day of activity, and nighttime is a time of relaxation. That's what we learn. Daytime for activity, nighttime to relax and to sleep. Once it goes down, the body will not move. Even breathing will be slower, heart rate will be slower, everything will be in a low voltage. So the body will go to sleep. Then, before dawn or around dawn, it will start to release again and let us to stay awake and start our days. So this, they called it the normal rhythm. Whenever we have a problem in cortisol, either to be because of disturbance in secretion or because of disturbance in the rhythm. So stress hormone is the alarm system of our body. Whenever we have something to do, the mind will start to release this cortisol accordingly, and it will work with us as long as we are in stress. Once this stress stops, it should be go down again. But as long as this rhythm is good, we are good, beautifully. The alarm system works beautifully until something happens. So until it doesn't, it makes organization, disorganization. For sure, our life now is not like 50 years ago or 100 years ago. Fast-paced culture. Everybody overworked. Everybody is under stress, unrested, under pressure. Too much obligation in our life. Too much achievements we have to make. But what about the alarm system? So the alarm system never stops. Keep releasing of cortisol. Keep releasing of cortisol. And at the end, we have abnormal cortisol level. So as I said, cortisol abnormality either to be a problem in secretion, this is a disease, should be treated. And it is easy to investigate for. Just check the cortisol level in the blood and see if it is high or low. If high, they call it Cushing syndrome, with fatigue, stretch mark, patient will be obese, moon face, buffalo hump. Or it is hyposecretion, they call it Addison disease. It's a disease. Disease, like any other disease. We will check it in the blood. If it is high, we'll give the treatment. If it's low, we'll give the treatment. This is the cortisol secretion abnormality, which is not this explainable fatigue. It's not our case here. The major thing that we are thinking about today is the unexplainable fatigue. And usually we have 4 patterns of disturbance in the rhythm. As I said, it is 6 a.m., come up at 12 to 1, then go down starting from 3, then go in the minimum at 9. But this rhythm could be disturbed. We have 4 types or 4 patterns for disturbance. The high level, early morning, so before 6 a.m., maybe at 3 a.m., or high throughout the day, or reverse it. Low in the morning, high in the evening. And lastly, low throughout the day. They called it adrenal fatigue or burnout. What happened if it is low cortisol or high cortisol? Very similar, very similar. If it is high cholesterol, the blood pressure is high, will be high, fatigue, erectile dysfunction, reduced sex drive, weakened immune system, weight gain, hyperglycemia, high blood sugar, insomnia, disturbance in sleep, and also poor memory and poor concentration. The same, to some extent, will be if it is low. Also will be with anxiety, irritability, muscle pain, weight gain, depressed mood, okay? Insomnia, disturbance of in sleep pattern, and usually also with decreased sex drive. Let us see what happened in the first pattern. The first pattern is high cortisol early morning. At that time, if it is normal, will start to rise up at 6 a.m. No, in this abnormal rhythm, it will be earlier than that. It will be at 3 a.m. So at 3 a.m., the man will wake up. Okay, I'm in racing with my obligations. I have a lot of tasks I have to make tomorrow. I have 1, 2, 3. So his alarm system starts earlier than usual. He wake up earlier than usual. He wants to start the day. So he looks in his watch every now and then. Okay, 6 a.m. doesn't come yet. No. Oh, wait. Stressed. He will wake up edgy. In a problem with everybody around in the morning. May have crushing in the midday. At 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. Okay, he finished. Crashing happened at that time. So he wake up very early, watching his cell phone, waiting for the morning to come, then wake up edgy, anxious, irritable, and after a while he'll start crashing in the midday. The other pattern is high cortisol throughout the day. So this is the normal, morning, midday, evening. No, cortisol will be high all over the day. Continuous stress, speedy. This is the harsh business. The director who has a lot of things and he never stops. His life is continuous. Work. Never stop. And in spite of that, he's exhausted. So he's high, but he's exhausted at the same time. This type of life is the life of those disorganized businessmen. They are not organized and they have a lot of things. They may have a lot of achievement, but their body is continuously in stress. His cup of coffee is in his hand all over the day. You want to drink coffee to focus. You want to focus. So cortisol level will stay elevated, and the man will be wired, irritable, aging, and his adrenal gland trying to cope with this stress, but unfortunately after a while start to collapse. So speedy and exhausted at the same time. The third pattern, which is high cortisol in the evening, or what they call reversed cortisol release. So normally it is high in the morning, low in the evening, so we can work in the morning and sleep at night. No, this is vice versa. In this type, you will find something very, very notable, and we can see it in our community a lot. They may make their arguments at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. or sometimes may keep non-sleepy till 1 a.m. trying to make chatting online or go in argument, political. He has a lot of things overnight may discuss. His brain is working because his cortisol level is high in the evening. While in the morning, is collapsed, crushed, cannot work. This is the type of reversed cortisol secretion, or not secretion, reversed cortisol rhythm. Morning low, evening high. In this case, he may spend night watching TV, for example, till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. He cannot sleep, cannot fall asleep easily, and thinking or make arguments with others, or may choose any kind of subject to make argument on. The last type is low cortisol all over the day, which what we call burnout. Usually it comes after high cortisol over the day. So after a while, the adrenal glands will collapse. No more cortisol to be released. So the person will come with fatigue all over the day, cannot do anything. He feels crushed all over the day, flatline cortisol secretions. Exhaustion all over the time, prolonged, due to intense stress. It is the same like your battery without charge. Dead. In this burnout, we have 4 phases. It depends on cortisol level in comparison to the neurotransmitters. I don't know if you know about serotonin and GABA and dopamine in our brain that give us orders and make us happy, and if it is low, make us sad and anxious. These neurotransmitters are working together with cortisol to keep feelings. So, if cortisol is high and neurotransmitters are high with much stress, they call it wired and sound, for sound. High, hyper, want to make a lot of things, like this lady. Once the cortisol be higher, while the serotonin and dopamine will go down, the person will come sad, wired and tired. He is anxious and cannot move. At that time, he is in a risk of allergy and infection, and he is easily getting cold, flu. He will come in every week, every 2 weeks. I may have something wrong. I may have diarrhea. I may have runny nose, common cold. I am in a risk of infection usually. The third phase is wired and tired, but with low cortisol and high neurotransmitters. This is the phase of inflammation, pain. This is the phase of fibromyalgia. This is the phase of rheumatoid. This is the phase of irritable bowel syndrome. So it is inflammation with pain, and the patient is very edgy and tired all over the day. Lastly, and this is the worst type, is just plain tired. This is burnout. Critical situation, low cortisol, low neurotransmitters, everything is low in his body. Okay, no solutions? No hope? No, we may have some hope. Let us be hopeful. We understand how does it happen. Let us see how can we manage. We have different types of management. We have different tools and things we can do to improve our energy, to recharge our battery, to reduce our stress. We cannot say one is better than other, but all together they call it lifestyle. So to increase energy in your body, to improve your fatigue, to treat your stress, you need to change your lifestyle. And those tools are the tools to change the lifestyle. This is the main value in our clinic, is how to adjust. What is the reason, where is the defect, and how can manage. Everyone has its own way to treat. Each pattern from these 4 patterns we discussed has certain way to manage or to engage all these things together. So, for example, the integrative medicine or functional medicine is to use functional food, functional vitamins and supplements. We have to choose these kind of vitamins that improve the energy, treat the fatigue, and to replace the important minerals and vitamins in our body. Mainly Vitamin B12 and other B complex, very important. Vitamin D is very important. Magnesium, if iron is deficient, in case of anemia, for example, we have to replace. Omega-3 is a basic supplement in our life with vitamin D. And we have to keep our eyes on potassium. Potassium doesn't need to give it as a supplement, but you have to choose a rich food with potassium. During stress and during overwork, we lose a lot of water, a lot of fluids from our body. If we will not what we have now, if we will not replace this water, I swear that nothing will be helpful. We have to get enough amount of water, but usually take this water in the daytime more than evening, because sometimes the people may want to get a lot of water before sleep or bedtime, and they will be anxious all over the night with insomnia, cannot go to sleep. So you have to choose a time to drink water. Morning water is very important, evening water is important, and night water I don't recommend. How to relax? Very important. How to control your temper. How to make your mindfulness. Mindfulness is a very big term. We have to understand it. We have to listen to our body. We have to learn how to breathe. We have to control our breath. We have to make our mind rested. Prayers, music, yoga, a lot of things that will help us to make this mindfulness. Physical exercise is a mandatory in our life, especially in this hectic life we are living now. But we have to be smart enough to understand when shall we make our workout. Because if I will make my workout, I'm very busy all over the day, I will not be free to make this workout except at 9 p.m. Oh, it's very wrong. Very wrong in case of fatigue, because at that time you increase the amount of cortisol overnight and you'll go in a normal rhythm of this cortisol release. So workout usually, is the best will be in the morning or maximum in the midday, but don't make workout, especially if you have fatigue and stress, don't make it. Some people will say, oh, I will make a heavy workout and that will kill me. Yes, it will kill you, but it will not kill you by treatment. It increases the problem, so we'll go from continuous stress to burnout condition. Sleep problems. Our ghost. We cannot sleep well. We usually, it is the main symptom with fatigue. Sleep disorder. Either excessive sleep or mostly very short hours of sleep in our life. Studies prove that change sleeping hours from 8 hours to 6 hours increase stress by around 50%. So only 2 hours in our life, if you lose the sleep hour, those 2 hours, you'll increase your stress 50%. It is a very big problem. So we have to learn. We have to learn how to sleep. We have to respect sleep hygiene. We have to understand what is the problem. If this sleep in induction of sleep, I mean by to fall in asleep, the problem in falling asleep, or in interruption, or he wake up early. Everything should be managed accordingly. Not all sleep pills will work for everything. No. For example, melatonin is the sleep hormone, and usually it works against cortisol. So the black line is the cortisol, as I said to you, increase at 6 a.m. and drop at 9 p.m. While the melatonin is flat, this is of the night hormone. So cortisol is the day hormone and melatonin is the night hormone. It works against each other. Once cortisol is low, melatonin will go up and release to induce your sleep. And keep on all over the night till 3 or 4 a.m. Then we'll go back to the normal or to the lowest level at 6 a.m. If this risk will be preserved, everything will be all right. If melatonin will be shifted a little bit earlier, you will sleep well, but you will wake up early. If there is a spike in the, if it is flat melatonin, at that time, usually those above age of say 75, we see this low melatonin. Elderly patients usually have deficiency in melatonin. So melatonin is very important to respect when we are trying to fix the melatonin release with cortisol release to be all are the same. How can we do that? How can we manage this melatonin and cortisol to be to work in a balance? We have very important three things really. Three things may help that. The first one is adaptogens. Adaptogens are type of herbs that work on adrenal glands. It will improve the secretion, keep the rhythm, and keep the range within normal. And we heard about ginseng, we heard about rhodiola, ashwagandha, which is the most balanced adaptogen that help in both sides, either in hypo or hyper. It will work well in both sides. These adaptogens not only to reduce stress level, but also help to restore cortisol level to the natural curve. The second thing is cupping. And cupping now is an era. So a lot of famous people use cupping now. And this cupping improves the lymphatic drainage. This is the lymphatic duct. The lymphatic duct is the duct that releases all toxins from the body. So we put cups over it to release these toxins from the body and keep the immune system in a good shape. And that will relieve the stress and decrease it to the minimum. Also at the same time improve the immunity, improve the energy. And lastly, and one of the important things Chinese people send to us is acupuncture. Acupuncture, in our body we have blood vessels, nerves, we have what they call energy channels. These energy channels controlled by these needles. This point, for example, one of the important points to release extra heat from the body. So we use this acupuncture or needles to control the energy, either the pathway of the energy or the release or increase it according to the need of each body. If I will work with all together, all these tools together, helping the body to restore its energy, we will put it on the back on the track, like we said. Cortisol will be your friend again. It will not be your enemy. It will not be the excessive stress. It will be your good friend instead of dragging you down. So the most important lesson we have to understand it from our presentation today is we have to listen to our body. We have to understand it. We have to manage it. We have to respect pains. We have to respect energy. We have to respect lumps. We have to respect each thing in our body. We have to listen to of our body, because you cannot understand, you cannot solve any problem except if you listen your body well. So listen your body is my message today. Thank you so much for your coming. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, it will be appreciated. and also happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.